Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2011 movie Captain America: The First Avenger. So in this movie, this is one where we're introduced to Steve Rogers, who becomes Captain America after joining the army during World War II. And at the beginning of the movie, he's like this scrawny, really skinny, small dude and everything. And then when he takes his super soldier serum, he becomes all big and buff and one of the best soldiers that they had at the time in this movie. And he has to try to stop Red Skull from using the Tesseract to take over the world, and also during the war they're trying to stop Hydra too, which is a secret organization that's kind of like Nazis, and they pretty much are Nazis. But yeah, this is a really great movie, and every time I watch it I always forget how good it is. But it's one of my favorite, especially out of like the origin stories in the MCU movies. This is definitely one of the best ones of the the origin stories, and it's really well written and fast paced. Like it never really feels boring or anything, and it always flies by really fast when I watch it and everything. I love that too. It's only a little bit over 2 hours, so it doesn't take long to get going. It doesn't overstay its welcome and stuff, so it works out really well. And the cast in here are excellent, especially Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. He's one of the best casted characters in the MCU is Captain America, and Steve Rogers, I just absolutely love him and the role and everything. I'm not a big Chris Evans fan, but this is one character that I feel like he nailed perfectly, and he's really great in here. And Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter is also perfect casting, and her chemistry with Chris Evans is really, really well done. And I think out of all the MCU couples, these are probably my favorite ones, and everything. I think they're definitely probably the best couple in the MCU. And then you got Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, who only has a small role in this movie, but he's still an important role, and he becomes an important character as the MCU progresses and stuff. But I love the little bit we get with him, and the way his friendship with Steve is written. I absolutely love it. I think it's very well written, and they did a really great job with both his friendship with Bucky and his relationship with Peggy. I think they did a really great job writing those parts of the story for the characters. It was really well done. And Joe Johnston's directing is really great. He's one of my favorite directors. I've always really loved him. He's directed some of my favorite movies like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, The Rocketeer, Jumanji, October Sky, to an extent Jurassic Park 3. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites of all time, but it's one that I watched as a kid, so I have nostalgia for, so I kind of like it, and everything. But his directing I thought was good on that movie, and he does a good job with this movie as well. I think he did a great job, and I love the look and feel of this movie. The World War II setting is just really well done. I love that and everything. And I also forgot to mention, I think Hugo Weaving is pretty good at playing Red Skull. I think he looks pretty cool and stuff when we finally see him with the Red Skull, and the makeup and stuff looks really awesome on him. And I think he did a pretty good job playing the character and everything. But I do kind of also have issues with Red Skull. I feel like he's kind of not one of the best villains. He's kind of weak. He's one of the better villains in the Phase 1 of the MCU, but he's just kind of a weaker villain, not super great, and everything could have been developed better. But compared to some of the other villains in Phase 1, he's not too awful bad. I also gotta say that the song that they play throughout the movie, the Star Spangled Man with a Plan song, that song is really, really catchy and gets stuck in my head every time I watch it, and I've had it stuck in my head ever since I watched it this morning, and everything. And there is a little bit of bad CGI, but it's not like super, super bad. Most of the special effects in here are actually really good because they use practical sets and effects and everything, and that's part of the war movie aesthetic that made it work so well and everything. And I love that too, and I just love the feel of the movie. It's just really well done and everything. So, but yeah, I don't have a lot to complain about on this movie. Like I said, I do wish they would have done more with Red Skull, and the CGI at times was a little wonky and is a little dated, but it's not like super bad compared to other MCU stuff. There's way worse CGI in the MCU than this, so some of it isn't even out yet, like the She-Hulk show. You can tell the CGI on that is going to be really, really awful. But yeah, I think this is a really entertaining movie. It has really great performances and a killer score by Alan Silvestri. It's one of the best scores in the MCU, if not my favorite score. He just does such a great job with the music for Captain America in this movie. And but it's also a really great introduction to some of the characters that have gone on to become big parts of the MCU, like of course Captain America and Bucky and Peggy. All of them are. It was a really great introduction to all of them, and Howard Stark and all that. So I really love this movie, and also Tommy Lee Jones is a pretty good addition. I almost forgot to mention one of my favorite parts in there is right before Steve goes on the plane at the end of the movie. My favorite joke in the whole movie is when, after he kisses Peggy and stuff, and he looks down at Tommy Lee Jones' character and he's like, "I'm not going to kiss you." I don't know why, but every time I watch that, it cracks me up. I think it's just the way Tommy Lee Jones says it, and he's good in this movie too. Not one of my most favorite performances of his, because he's had a lot of better ones, but he was still really good in this movie too, and fit his character really well. So I almost forgot to mention him, but I really love this movie. I think it's a really great entry in the franchise, and I always forget how good it is. It really is one of the best MCU origin stories for sure. So I'd say I'd give Captain America: The First Avenger a 9 out of 10. It's really enjoyable and a really good movie. It has a few little issues with the writing of the villain, which is something the MCU has struggled off and on with throughout all 4 phases, but yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.